Hey guys, coming at you again live. It's a great time of the day, and I feel well. Today, different parts of the day, uh, I was feeling not down, but I could tell my body needed more rest because last night I went to bed a little bit later than normal because it was Friday night, so I kind of indulged in staying out a little bit later. And I still woke up by 7. Usually I try to get up by 6. But rest is so important for your health, mentally and physically. 6 to 8 hours is the basically the window. You should sleep between 6 to 8 hours. That's the average recommended for an adult. If you sleep less than 6 hours, your body tissue, your mind, everything doesn't repair itself. When you sleep, your body repairs itself. If you sleep more than 8 hours, that can also be harmful and then can just cause a lazy, lagging feeling. So you have to, between 6 to 8 hours, 6 to 8 hours. That's just sleep, and no naps during the day. No naps during the day. I think if you can really understand that, you're going to take care of yourself well. Self care is huge. If you don't exercise good self care, you're going to get burnt out on life. You're definitely going to get burnt out on the nomad life because living a nomad, traveling constantly or moving constantly, not having a fixed location to go back to every night, what that requires is a healthy mindset. What that requires is a healthy lifestyle. What that requires is self-care to the max because you're living such an abnormal life. You need such a focus, such a discipline, such a structure that you will get burnt out very quick. I think the average life expectancy for somebody living a nomad, meaning living without a fixed apartment or fixed house to go to, I think it's 8 to 12 months. Okay, some people do it more than that, but what you're going to see is people get burnt out now because people get burnt out on the nomad lifestyle because it requires it requires a certain mindset. It's very rare. Even me, sometimes I catch myself like, man, I may want to get a home base, and one day I may. But what I'm trying to tell you is you have to be conscious of this because it's not just with the nomad lifestyle, it's with life. Many people quit their job too early because they get burnt out. And then they rest and then they say, oh shit, now what am I going to do for money? Part of not getting burnt out is learning to rest, not quit. Now, sometimes you should quit. Sometimes you should quit a job. Sometimes you should quit a relationship, but very rare. That should be the exception, not the rule. If you have a pattern of quitting, and never sticking, then what you're going to find is you're in a bad place, mentally, physically, or financially, and you're burnt out. You're burnt out from just being in a bad place. You can get burnt out not by doing a lot of physical activity, just by fucking yourself. Now, I have compassion because I've made the same mistakes many times, and I could tell you, when I do that, when I find myself not doing the right things, I beat you burn yourself out. So what I'm trying to tell you is it's a delicate balance, but self-care is always the foundation to which your life is built. And if you are thinking, or if you are living a nomad lifestyle, if you are not making your sleep no more than 8 hours, but at least 6 hours. If you're not making your sleep a priority, if you're not making what you eat a priority, if you're not making your relationships, are they healthy or do I need to eliminate them? Am I just putting up relationships because they equivalent money? If you're not taking care of yourself, you're going to get burnt out even quicker because everyone gets burnt out on life. I get burnt out all the time. So a lot of times I want to quit. I want to give up on things all the time because it's human nature. It's the battlefield of the mind. It's the tennis match of the mind. But what I've learned in life is when you get burnt out and then you just give up, guess what happens? Then you feel even worse. Because then what I've learned in life, and this is I'm summarizing up the structure topic, then we'll go into the live chat. What I've learned in life is even if you give up, even if you get burnt out and you put the covers over your head, life still hits you while you're under the covers. Life doesn't stop hitting you just because you give up because you got burnt out. It'll hit you even harder. And then you're under the covers, you got nowhere to go but more misery. So the answer, push yourself to get up early. Push yourself to go to sleep early. Eat well. Work until you don't have to work. Do different things you need to do for your well-being. And then there will be exceptional times where you need to not maybe follow the rule but do the exception. But overall, That's what you need to be conscious of to not get yourself burnt out. All right, live chat. Let's see who's on the live chat. Pat, hey Sam, hello to you. Susan, hey Sam, hello to you. Pat, good to see you again. Thank you for hanging in there. I appreciate that. Pat is a viewer who's been here for a while from the West Coast, and she had a vision of long-term or being a nomad or just long-term traveling, but her husband didn't want to do it. See, when you want to do it and you haven't done it, you're burnt out on regular life. You can get burnt out on regular life, or you can get burnt out on the nomad life. So when you're burnt out on regular life, you turn to the nomad life to kind of rejuvenate you. And then you go to the nomad life, and then you get burnt out on that. Then you want to go back to the static life. So what I've learned in life is that you have to find the right balance for you. And that's going to take trial and error. There's nothing wrong with failing. There's nothing wrong with quitting. There's nothing wrong with making a mistake. There's nothing wrong with making the same mistake several times. And there's no guarantee you're always going to make mistakes. But what you are on a journey of, you're on a journey to find your balance. And your balance is unique to everyone else because you have your own fingerprint just like I do. And that was the Buddha thing. The Buddha thing was some guy searching for enlightenment. And on his journey for enlightenment, he went to all these different extremes. And what he found was the real enlightenment came in a balance for him. But the only way to learn that balance is to make mistakes, to fail, and to make them again, and then to refine it as you go. And Pat says, great to see you. Good to see you too. Thank you, Pat. I appreciate you hanging in there. Patience is the key. Hey, Sammy, what's going on, brother? Good to see you, man. Tom Hanks, happy Saturday. Yes, happy Saturday. How was the boogie board? It was good. The waves weren't that good today. Well, let me say this. It was good that I did it, okay? Because everything in life is, you can dream, you can mind fuck it, or you can do it. And I try to do things, okay? Not just dream about them. So it takes effort, okay? It takes effort to get to the beach. You don't think so, but you know how many people I know that live close to the beach, they don't go to the beach every day. You know how many people I know that just stay in their house, okay? So it takes effort to push yourself to go buy a boogie board, $20, then to go get it and not just look at it, but actually go to the beach and get in the water. Many people go to the beach, they don't go in the water. Many people go in the water, they don't fully submerge. They tip their toe in and they go, oh, it's too cold. They get out of there or they do whatever. And then you think they're going to tip their toe in when they're 65 and they got full Social Security? Hell no. They need somebody to help them to get to the beach. What I'm trying to tell you is you have to learn to do, not just dream. And you will make mistakes. But the waves weren't that good, so the boogie boarding wasn't that good. I was a little disappointed in the color because I had a real good boogie board that I threw away, but I got to let that go. And I was like a little seasick because I was just kind of like, for a while, I couldn't find a good wave to catch. So I was just out in the ocean just floating with it. That was nice. But then I got a little bit, just like, but I did it for about, 20 minutes. It was good. Then I didn't sleep on the beach, but I did lay down on the beach and I just let I bask in the sun because it's nice when you get out of the beach water and your body's glistening with all that water and then you lay down and the sun just dries you up naturally. Very natural. Very good. Very magical. Patience is the key. I want to have that same happiness you have. Well, I still get sad. I still communicate in these live chats the sad thoughts I have, the different anxieties, the stresses. I still throw up that fact that I have to go to work every morning. I wake up at 5 every morning. Do you want to do that? I go to work every morning. Do you want to do that? I slept in my car for 2 winters to get here. Do you want to do that? Never forget, behind this smile and this hour live feed is 23 hours of work. Making sure I get the proper sleep, eating a plant-based diet, sacrifices along the way. So never take the life out of context. Never look at my chapter 21 and compare it to your chapter 1. It's going to start with all the things I talk about, mind, body, soul, and consistency, showing up every day. Are you going to want to do a YouTube channel for a year and not get paid a dime? And then when you get paid a dime, you got to deal with all these crazy, not crazy people, but you get to deal with a lot of negative people. I get negative people every night. Every day I wake up in the morning after I take care of myself first, because that's what I do first. I get my coffee. I give thanks to God. Just say a quick prayer in my heart. Then you know what I do? I look at my YouTube comments, and you know what happens? Almost every night, somebody at 3:00 in the morning, just crazy. Okay. So and then I look at my emails. I look at my emails from work, and everything is demand. Okay. But how are you going to pay for gas? How are you going to pay for this? You got to have some type of thing. And even if eventually you're able to live off your investments, you got to have that. People don't want to hear that. People leave the live chat. Talk about work, sacrifice. They want to hear about MILFs and dancing around. They want to hear only the fun stuff. And then this is what happens. This is what I want to read you. I got a comment last night from a guy, Jacob. He's burnt out in the nomad life. Let me read this comment and love and respect to Jacob. He left me a comment last night. Here it goes, guys. His name is Jacob. And he's talking to me in a comment. He said, I have been following your videos for a while now, and I'm definitely a fan, bro. Have been living in my car now for about 4 months. Last couple of days have been rough. Really second guessing why I'm living out of my car. Laugh out loud. What do you do to take boredom away? Have driven to almost everywhere new. Reading no longer interests me. Watching TV shows and movies on my phone lasts for a short while, but no good. I am thinking I want to find a female company, but I think you know the drill on how that goes. When I'm living in my car, laugh out loud. Yeah, you can't get a girl when you live in that car, not unless you're like me. It's not too often. Any females reading this in Sydney, Australia, want to meet me? And then he laughed. Sorry for the rant, bro. Really struggling these last couple days. So here's a viewer, 4 months living in his car, burnt out, bored. What do you do when you're bored? I don't know how anyone is bored with life. Why? Because I think you should be getting up early. I think you should be going to the gym. I think you should be walking. I think you should have some type of job. I think you should be doing different things with your life. I'm exhausted at the end of the day. And then I think if you're bored and you can't occupy your own time and then you're looking for a female to make you on board, I think that's how two miserable people end up together, and misery loves company. Because if you are looking for someone else to make you happy, anytime you put your happiness in someone else's hands, they'll drop it every time. Okay, that's what I've learned in life. So love and respect to Jacob. He left a great comment, so I'm not being harsh on him, but I want you guys to see the reality of life. Okay, and I've seen a couple nomads talk about this recently, a couple of them going back. If you think like, just living very simple is going to solve your problems, not if you're not taking care of yourself. I had a lady in here for months. She was talking about she wanted to just live in her van, but she was still in an unhealthy relationship, still eating unhealthy. And I kept telling her, she didn't want to hear it. Eventually she left. I kept telling her, look, you're still going to be miserable because you're not exercising self-care. People don't want to hear self-care. People want to hear about the MILFs and the palm trees. And I understand that, but that's only part of the equation. You got to look at the whole equation. If not, you're going to end up like Jacob at 2 o'clock in the morning, leaving me a message saying that he's burnt out 4 months into it, and he needs a companion now to make him happy. He went everywhere he wants to go. Now what's next? Let me tell you something. You know what Jim Jones was a manipulative pastor that basically got his congregation down to South America and then mass murdered them. Okay, it was a cult. Okay, in the 70s, I believe it was. And Jim Jones, right before he committed this mass murder of all these people, what he had basically said to them, there's audio of it, you can watch it on YouTube, don't watch too much, but he basically said, we've experienced everything we could experience. What's left? There's nothing left. Let's just all kill ourselves. Let's drink this poison Kool-Aid. And then like some lady from the crowd shouted out, but the kids didn't get to live their life. At least let the kids live. Jim Jones says, we've done everything we wanted to do. What's left? You're going to feel that way in life. You hit the road, you're going to visit every state park, you're going to do everything you want, then you're going to feel like what's left in life. You're going to get married, you're going to do kids, and then you're going to feel burnt out on life. Why do you feel burnt out on life? Because you're not taking care of yourself. You got religion, but you don't got spirituality. You're not in balance. Too much religion, not enough real life. You got to have balance. Balance is individual to you. Balance is certainly not found in someone else. A compliment can be found in someone else. You complimenting each other, but not completing. If you're looking for someone else to complete you, what's going to happen is 2 years later or 20 years later, you'll direct message me and say, Sam, I'm getting ready for a divorce. What's your advice? I'm going to tell you, look, if it's unhealthy, get the hell out of there. Why? Because you already know it's a disaster after 20 years. Okay? You don't need me to tell you that. You're asking me, so you already know the answer. Anytime you ask me a question, you know the answer. But sometimes we want confirmation. So love and respect. We went really out there on that one. I like it. Pat, I sleep about 5 hours, not enough. Patience is the key. But I understand. I love you, Pat. Patience is the key. And living a fulfilling life without needing anyone else. Yeah, well, I just read that comment. That was very powerful. Good job, Jacob. Thank you for sharing that comment. Pat, where are you? I'm in Florida. I am in my home state. I'm a Floridian. Of course I'm in Florida. Haven't you seen me, Pat, frolicking with the MILFs? Very magical. Pat, why are you not in a car? Because I get good Wi-Fi here in this cafe. And right now it's about 83 degrees Fahrenheit, low wind right off the ocean. Why would I want to be in my car? I don't want to be in my car. I want to be out. This is the whole reason I sacrificed for 2 years, to live an outdoor lifestyle. I didn't sacrifice to, again, like that's the other thing. Like people often say, like, why don't you have a cook burner stove? Why don't you have this in your car? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do solar? I don't live in my car. I sleep in my car. Okay, I live outside. I'm engaged in life. If you're at a place where you're frail, you're older, and you're sick, then you're going to live indoors, or you're going to live in your car. You're going to live in your van. I don't do that. That's why I don't go into the middle of the desert, stock my van up with Twinkies, and roll around and tell you about how great the nomad life is, and going to get prescription drugs in Mexico. I'm not doing that. Okay, big difference. Big difference. Tom Hanks was watching Seinfeld and thought of you. Thank you. I loved Seinfeld episode with Jimmy in basketball shoes. Oh, I remember that. Yeah, Jimmy kept calling himself in a third person. Yeah, I remember that episode. Good job. Submarine Vet 81. Love and respect. What's up, dude? From Boston. You got me inspired. Thank you. One of my first travels, I traveled up and down the East Coast. I traveled to Boston. I did a very brief video of Boston. This was when I first started my channel. It's on my playlist in the travel nomad thing. Boston's a great city if you go in the summer. Very diverse city, a lot of culture. I got Little Italy. I got a lot of different things. And there's good business. There's good job opportunities in Boston. Okay, the city is great. You go outside the city, it's like a whole different world. Like I went in Boston, I was like so surprised at the diversity. I went in the summer. Diversity was great. Everything was great. Jobs were great. But then like on my way back south, like I stopped in like a town to get gas. It was like in the middle of nowhere. And I was like, damn. Once you go outside the city, it's like nothing. Now I would never want to live in Boston. Love and respect to Boston. Why? It's just not the climate. It's worse than New Jersey as far as the climate in the winter. I mean, just as bad. But I could tell you the city itself is great. It's worth a visit. A lot of street performers, culture. Of course, shout out to Cheers. We talked about Seinfeld. Cheers, growing up, the show Cheers is one of my favorite. Everyone, where everybody knows your name. Norm came in, and the postman and everything. Tom Danson, that was a great sitcom. Okay, I went to the Cheers bar. Now, the Cheers bar that they have like on display in downtown Boston is not really the real bar, but it's a part of like the movie set thing. So shout out to Boston. And to you, Submarine Vet. Pat, do you do a job you enjoy? Otherwise, you're wasting your life. I definitely agree with that, but what I can't agree with is I haven't found that to be the case. For my career, for 22 years, for the most part, I've done jobs that I enjoy them somewhat. I enjoy getting money, but I don't wake up like, yes, I can't wait to go to work. I want to throw up. I want to get paid to sit on the beach and to go walking and to go to the gym. Almost threw up the first 5 years starting my career. I almost hated every moment. And, even to this day, I'm finally at a somewhat good position, but even there's a lot of mental stress, a lot of pressure. People don't just give you money. You're blessed. Believe me, I try to, I'm still trying to position myself. That's my final goal, to be able to be self-sufficient, but that's very hard to sustain your own type of money through whatever type of other streams other than working. And I've had my own businesses. I've worked for different companies. And what I can tell you is most jobs, 99%, only 1% of people are probably doing exactly what they love and they don't mind doing it. But everything is work. You're always going to have anxiety. You're always going to have stress. What should you do? Should you get burnt out in that and just quit? Well, in my young career, I tried that. And you know what happens? Life still hits you. Bills still show up. You still need gas. You still need Starbucks. You still need food. How are you going to pay for that? Okay. I don't know many people. I don't know anyone that does exactly what they love. I don't. Most people, and that's why I like minimalism. At least it gives you an opportunity to do what you love because you don't need that much money. But for me, I look at it like, look, 22 years working in the same industry, building my career up. I'm not going to quit now and go work at Starbucks. It doesn't make sense. I would love to be able to live off my own investments or something like that one day, but that's very hard to sustain that, and I can't count on that. But I see people get led astray a lot by, look, just do what you love. I think you should. I would love to myself, but I just want to share with you the opposite of that is that basically my whole career, every day I got to fight to get myself up because it's not that inspiring going to work. That's my experience. Pat, 8 hours is a long time to be doing a job you hate. Yeah, but 8 hours not having a job, not having money is a way you hate yourself because you're always going to need money. So you gotta figure out some way to get money. Coco, hey Sam and all. Coco, what's going on? Buck, that's my guy, Buck. Wise words saying prayer emoji. Thank you. Thanks, brother. Hope all's well. Thank you for your love and support, Buck. Shout out to my guy, Buck. I believe it's Dade County. Love and respect. Ricardo, what's up, Sam? Worked all day today. Still at work, and I'm fed up. I want to be in Tampa. Well, I'm not mad at you. Look, I was in your same boat. So I'm preaching from experience. What I could do is take small steps, downsize, liquidate. And right now, while you have a job, apply for jobs down in Tampa. There's plenty of jobs down in Tampa. And if you're single by yourself, which I think you are, you don't need to live high on the hog. The best time to get a job is when you currently have a job. So apply now, because it looks like you're not desperate. It looks like you have some type of work experience. Apply now. Secure that job, do interviews, then give your 2-week notice, exit gracefully, and come down here scared to sell. And what's going to happen? 2 years later, you're going to be doing a live feed from Tampa Bay at some bar with some girl that you met, and you're going to say, Sammy, I'm having a time of my life. And I'm going to say, brother, enjoy yourself, man. I'm happy for you. That's the truth. Forgive me if I said the name wrong. Tamara, hey, I will be living on the road in my car very soon. And this is by choice. Okay, good job. Glad you're out there to help us push and to have the confidence to go out there and live our dreams now. Thank you. Yes, responsibly, because I didn't quit my job. I just sold my house. And then I went on the road. And then I stayed in New Jersey for 2 years while I worked a static job. Why? Because you need money. If you're just going to sell everything and just go, just be careful, because I don't preach that. I don't live that. And what I can tell you is I just read a comment. Someone who's doing it 4 months, they got burnt out. I pay money. I pay money right now for campgrounds. Why? Because that's how I avoid getting burnt out. Okay. So, and if you don't do that, you're gonna have to travel to the next truck stop and you're gonna spend money in gas, and you're gonna have wear and tear in a car of 100,000 miles on a 2-year-old car. Okay. And I spent a lot in maintenance. So again, I just want to share in context what I'm doing. I make the videos from the beach, but if you look at I have 1,000 videos on YouTube. And if you look at a good portion of them, you will see in context the reality of the road, good, bad, and everything in between. A lot of times people don't look at the whole thing. They only want to look at me walking around like, the mills are beeping at me. Everything's crazy. I got a boogie board, but froze my ass off. Stayed in New Jersey for 2 years. Spending money for campgrounds, spending money for cars repairs. I did some of my car repair things from like the shop. Look, this is going to cost me $400. This is going to cost me $500. So just be mindful, but you can do it. I was the same as you. This isn't like some type of orchestrated thing. I watched people on YouTube, and it gave me the confidence. An older guy, like 70. And then I went out there and did it. And then guess what? As soon as I went out there and did it, he stopped doing it. So that's the other lesson you guys need to learn. If you go out there and do it, and then all of a sudden I decide to buy a mansion and shack up with a MILF, you're going to say, Sam, you let me down. Now I'm out here on the road, and I'm scared. Whoa. What you have to understand is I was in the same boat. And I watched somebody, and all of a sudden, they stopped living this nomad life. And then what? One of my first videos, you looking at my Nomad playlist, it says, never let someone over-inspire you. Only do things because you take accountability if it goes right, wrong, or in between. But that being said, I do believe you can do it. I have been where you've been. But this is what I need to prepare you. This is what I saw. I got out on the road. Then everyone I was watching on YouTube, they get off the road. I said, oh, shit. I'm out here by myself. But I didn't really care because I already knew in life. I've learned that principle. Take accountability for every decision you make. And never expect anything from anyone. Only expect something from yourself. Good job. Buck, I live 10 minutes from the beach. That's what I'm talking about. And some days I want to go to the beach. But the atmosphere in the prison, a.k.a. house. Yeah, houses, apartments are sheetrock prisons. I agree with that. It's like so depressing. I stay in my room. Yeah, most people do. Most people have this vision of what they're going to do with their day. And then they wake up. And then they have 2 cups of coffee. And then they look at YouTube. And then before you know it, I'm going live at night. And they say, damn, tomorrow I'm going to boogie board. But tomorrow comes. And then you're faced with the same challenge. And they say, stay in the room. Work most days. Got a remote remote calling job, though. Good job, brother. Good job. Now, remote jobs, people don't still understand. Like, they're a blessing in an aspect, but they're work. And if you think you ain't going to do the work, believe me, what people don't understand about remote jobs, I'll do a video about that. Like, when you go to office, a big part of office jobs are, all right, you show up, you're here, and that's like a big part of your job, just showing up. When you're in a remote job, you're measured by what you're outputting, what you're completing. Because people can't, you're virtual. So how you're getting measured by your manager is what jobs you're completing and how you're completing them. So there's more of a demand on you in one sense. So you got to be mindful of that. Buck, Finally, so things are starting to align. 100. Good job. I like that, Ricardo. I'm burnt out. I want to be in Tampa. Last weekend when I was up there, it was great to meet nice MILFs. Got a number. If I was out there, I feel like I could find someone to settle down. Well, hell yeah, you could. But here's the thing. You could get burnt out on her too. But you should live your life, brother. If you do it responsibly, you got everything it takes, man. I already told you, Ricardo, you proved to me you have it in you. You can take a hit and you keep going. And that's what life requires. It sucks. Every time, like, I really get excited about life, I get hit in the gut some way, somehow. And then I say, damn, I want to hide under a rock. And it's like, I can never be confident again because, it's like as soon as you feel like, you're going forward, something and you get hit and you're like, oh, fuck. But you just got to keep getting up, keep staying positive, and you can do it. That's what I say. Luke, what's up, brother? Hey, Sam. Storm finally passing. Good. Praise the Lord. Just give you guys an update. Prayer emoji. Good. No damage here. Good. Luke, I'm glad to hear that. I'm thankful to hear that. And as soon as that thing completely, get the hell out of your parents' house because it's a disaster. We love you. Luke, question. So other than working, do you spend most of your days traveling and discovering Florida? No, I pretty much did that already. Okay, so on the weekends, like today I was off and tomorrow I'll be off. Now tomorrow I may travel a little bit, but my travel is not as much. For the first 2 years, when I came down here periodically throughout the years, I traveled the entire state to see where I kind of wanted to spend most of my time. That layer is already done. So now on the weekend, I don't travel at all during the weekdays, not anymore. And that's why I pay for campgrounds, because I just focus on my job, because that's stressful. And that's how you get burnt out. Even when you're traveling and it's fun, it's stressful. You're going to unknown places. You got to find supermarkets. You got to research things, and it throws you off a little bit. So on the weekends now, I'll travel a little bit to get that adventurous thing. But on the weekdays, I try to, find a campground, structure it, and do it like that. To build a sustainable lifestyle. See, that's the key. There's a nomad life, then there's a sustainable nomad life. There's regular life, and then there's a sustainable life. There's diets. There's lose 30 days and lose 30 pounds in 30 days. But then there's lose 200 pounds over the course of 3 years and keep it all for 4 years. How do you do that? Sustainability. Not easy, but you have to figure out how you can sustain something. Now, for me, eventually, I may look at a home base. Why? Because for me, my end goal, if you look at all my videos, was to get down to Florida. And that's why I didn't want to buy another house in New Jersey. I wanted to downsize. I had a big condo. I wanted to get a small one by the beach. But I eventually wanted to but I didn't want to buy another one in New Jersey, but I couldn't buy one in Florida because I still had a job in Jersey. So now that I'm down in Florida, now that I know the areas are like, I still look at it. I'm not ready to commit mentally yet. But as time goes on, I look at my expenses. And I know when I consider campground fees and when I consider traveling costs, I could be paying just the same amount to buy an RV lot, and I would have some type of equity in property rather than just throwing that money away in gas and in campground fees. But I'm just not ready to mentally commit yet. But, those are part of the decision-making process that you go on your journey, and that's something you have to be aware of. And I don't know if I'll ever be. I don't know yet. Luke, to sleep. I'm with you, Luke. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't finish reading your comment. That was a good comment. He goes, so how often do you spend at campgrounds? Well, right now, I'm in a different season. I'm in like phase 4, okay? So now, at this point in my journey, I usually spend at least Sunday. I check in Sunday and I leave Friday morning because I want to be able to have somewhere I know to sleep between Monday through Friday. And when you check in a campground Sunday, you know you're going to be able to sleep there Sunday night to Monday. And then you wake up Friday morning, you check out, and then Saturday, I don't need a specific spot to sleep Friday night and Saturday because I'm off. So it's important for me to structure my day to build a healthy, sustainable lifestyle. I kind of know where I'm going to sleep from Monday through Friday. So sometimes, like I've reserved a campground if it's really area I like for up to 14 days. That's the max you can do it. Then you have to leave for 3 nights and come back. Sometimes, on average, I'll just do it for 4 nights, 5 days, 4 nights. And then on the weekends, I'll do my traveling because I can be more of a free bird. I don't have to be as rigid with my schedule because all my time is mine on my weekend. So for me, at this point in my journey, based on where I'm at, taking everything in context, that's how I do it. Buck, Sam, what about investing in real estate? What's your opinion? Well, I think you do come to that point. I mean, I invested in real estate. I had a home for 15 years. I refinanced that home 7 years through. And then by the time I sold it, if I considered everything, I just broke even. If I consider all the renovations, I consider all the property taxes, all the HOA fees, uh, everything I put into, I probably just broke even. Um, but if you were going to stay in the same location for over 7 years, if you think you are, no one knows, then it's worth it. I mean, because like right now, I think about that now that I'm settling into Florida, and I know I don't know, I don't want to live anywhere else. I'm looking at my expenses. I spend, if I was going to buy an RV lot, which I'm looking at for 100 grand or less, my mortgage and my taxes and everything would be about $800 a month. And that's what I'm about spending when I add up all my campground fees, when I add up all my gas and everything like that. So I'm saying to myself, I'm spending the same amount I would on a mortgage. Why? At least with a mortgage, even if you bought a RV lot for 100, and even if, 10 years later you sold it for 100, you got that 100 back. In 10 years, if you spend $800 a month in campground fees and car costs with gas and maintenance, you know, you don't get, you'll spend $100,000 in 10 years too if you do the math, but you won't get anything back when you go to sell it, because there's nothing to sell. You don't have any property. So there does come a point in the journey where you have to look at that. If you have a down payment, that's number one. If you have a job, that's number two. And number three, well, for me, it would be a light commitment in the fact that it's going to be a piece of land, a RV lot with utilities, maybe an old travel trailer or something on there. I'll throw something like that, or a small little new travel trailer. Some of them come with travel trailers on them down here. And the only thing that's really stopping me now from doing that is if, God forbid, I lose my remote position, I'm just a little concerned. Down here, there's not as abundant of jobs. There's jobs, and I love Florida. But you got to go kind of to Miami or Tampa or Orlando or Jacksonville. And I don't like to be so close to them all the time because there's a lot of congestion. So I like to be in quiet beach towns. So the only thing kind of stopped me there is like, look, I always have to think like worst case, like God forbid if I lose my job, down here you're not going to just pick up a six-figure job. You're not. But that's okay if you buy a $100,000 RV lot or a tiny home or whatever you would do. You don't need one. But even to get a $50,000 job, that's not guaranteed. I mean, and you'd have to go to a city area. So I think about that. And so I want to use wisdom. And I'm just not ready to give up my greatest asset, which is my flexibility. Right now, what I have is maximum flexibility. I could go anywhere if I really needed to. But at some point, it may make sense to buy something. Because at some point, if I don't want to go anywhere else, and if I can secure a level of, knowing the area, knowing I can get another job, or knowing I'm enough financially secure that I don't need to stress about anything, then it's a possibility. I mean, ideally, I'd be able to wait 2 more years, but I don't know. I mean, maybe I'll never buy a piece of property, and that's still on the table too. I don't know. But these are the thoughts that go through your mind. And this is how some people get burnt out. They feel these thoughts, and they get burnt out, and they go right to the other extreme, and they go back and forth. You have to understand that it's okay to feel these thoughts. What I've done in most of my life, sometimes I've made mistakes, but what I try to do is I talk them out. I verbally express how I feel. I take time, especially when it comes to heavy commitments, and I evaluate. And there's no guarantee you ever make the right decision, but and above all else, I take care of myself. I haven't always, but self-care, what I've really learned is self-care. Because at the end of the day, whether you live in a house, whether you live in a car, whether you live wherever, Florida or Boston, guess what happens? You still have to live with you. And if you're not happy with yourself, doesn't matter where you're at. If you're in a house, you're going to be anxious. You want to get out of the house. If you're in a car, you're going to get burnt out being on the road. If you're by yourself and you're not taking care of yourself, you're going to want somebody else to tap dance for you. Why? Because you need somebody else to make you happy. And that's the road to misery. And I've seen that in my life. I'm not going down that road. I'm not going down that road. By the grace of God. By the grace of God. All right. Good job. Good questions, guys. Buck. Like multifamily units with cash flow. No, I don't like that. Buck Porter, is basically asking, what about investing as far as buying a multifamily property? My mother owned a multifamily property. She still does. It's one of the reasons it caused a divorce. I believe one of the reasons with my parents. It's a huge mental tax. It's stress. It's a job. You're basically, when you buy a multifamily property, you are signing up for a job. It's like going on Indeed.com saying you want to be a landlord. The only thing is, you're a part owner. You're an owner, but you work. And you're a landlord. Even if you have a property manager, you're the CEO. You have to direct that property manager. They're a middleman. You're paying them to be a middleman, but you still have to cut the check. You still have to make the executive decisions. No, I know my personality, and that's why I didn't rent out my house. I don't want to worry. I don't want to be a land. It's not my game. I know I have some friends that are in the real estate game. It's not my game. I'm not saying it's a bad decision, but for me, knowing my personality, knowing my temperament, I don't want to deal with the stresses. I saw it firsthand with my mother, and I believe me, there's always something to deal with. And once in a while, you get lucky, you hit jackpot with a tenant, but then eventually they may leave, and then you got new tenants, and it's all over again. It's just a disaster. I saw it. I still see it with my mom, and I do not want to be a landlord. That's a job that I don't want. But I'm not saying. But everyone else has to make their own decision on that. Hey Rash, what's up, brother? Let's take a hydration break. Shout out to Vancouver and Hey Rash. Hey Rash. Hello, Sammy. I bet if Sam Malone was a van dweller, who's that? The culture of living in a van would be different today. I don't know who Sam Malone is. Who's that? Tamara. I have income, and then she gets smiling. Well, make it rain then. I like it because you need that no matter what you do. Good job. Tamara. Yep, responsible and mindful. Tamara, good. Good response. Now I'm happy with that. Good job. Cute Black Berry number 1. Good morning from London. Shout out to the UK. I am working on creating a business. Okay. Love. I am selling up my properties to live simple. You are inspiring. Just keep it simple. Yes, good job. Yes, I mean, if you're downsizing your life and becoming a nomad, or even just downsizing, getting into a smaller apartment, that's wisdom because you're mitigating your liabilities so you can maximize your risk. And when you start a business, that's what you're doing. You're taking on more risk. I've had 2 businesses, and I've done risky business ventures. Some of them fail, and it's painful. But there's something inside you calling you to do that, and you should do that. And I like how you're doing it. You should mitigate your risk. I mean, you should mitigate your liabilities so you can take on more risk. And then you just take it one step at a time. Good job. Luke, how much do you spend per month at the campground? About $800, $800 per month. I could spend less for a year, but then if I don't do campgrounds, I have to consider travel, wear and tear on my car, and it's more mental stress. So you pay for it one way or another. But right now, about $800 per month. I could spend less if I went to different campgrounds that were not in areas I like, and there are certain wildlife preserves in Florida that you can camp for free up to 14 days, but they're in the middle of nowhere. I don't want to be in the middle of nowhere, so I could do it for less. I don't want to do it for less because my goal is to live below my means, not live as cheap as possible. So I like to live as cheap as possible, but not at the expense of not enjoying life. I'm not going to be boogie boarding in the middle of the Everglades. I need to be by the ocean. Also, what do you do when your car is getting repaired? Where do you stay? I rent a car, or pretty much that's it, and then it would be a hotel. Same thing you do. Same thing you do when you, when you have a house, but you got to rent a car. Even if you had a house, you got to rent a car if your car's getting repaired, and then instead of your house, you go to a hotel. That's it. I mean, I do have friends here in different parts of Florida, and I know. I've even had some message me privately and say, Sam, if you ever need a place to stay, several of them, and I really sincerely appreciate that. But I would never do that. For me, only if it was like God forbid an emergency, because I like my space and I like to respect other people's spaces. But I'm very thankful to have good friends. Like if I really knew like I was really in trouble. But at the end of the day, for me, what I would do is I would just rent a car, and then I would rent a hotel. That's it. That a geek. Hey, Sammy. And then she's good. She's laughing at something. Good job. Good to laugh. Palm tree, thumbs up, and a magical sunflower. Good job. Yolanda. Hey. Hey, Sam. How are things? Good. How are things with you? I'm okay. Good. I got a book today. Okay. She's still there. Never heard of that. Gonna eat my vegetable egg roll. I'm not mad at you on that. Listen to y'all and bust my book on. Good job. Happy for you. Enjoy your night. Enjoy yours too. And your endless summer. Yes, thank you. Heart, sun, and then palm tree. Good job, Yolanda. I hope you're enjoying yourself. Thank you. Out of Illinois, what's up, brother? And then he goes, what's up, man? And then he give a whale emoji and then like the sunset emoji. Good job, Al Illinois. Good to see you, brother. Luke, if you get that property, would you get the Prius as well or just the RV for it? That's a good question. That's an interesting question. I thought of that a little bit. I'm not that close that I've put too much energy into that because I'm very conscious now. Where my mindset is now is I always ask myself before I think about something too much or before I respond to something, I say, Sam, is this going to waste energy or is this going to be productive use of your energy? Because every day during the course of your day, your energy is just like your cell phone battery level. So I'm really conscious of how much energy I'm going to output to something. So I haven't given too much energy into that because you have to do everything in steps. If you don't do everything in steps, you're going to get overwhelmed. My first step would just be, am I ready to commit to a property? And I'm not there yet. That's my first step. If I am, I know the area and I know the property. But let's just entertain it for fun. If I did do it, I think I would. Well, right now, one of the properties I'm looking at has an older trailer on it. So it's not ideal, but it's good. It would be good for about 5 years, I would think, get me by. It's like anchored down. So I would just buy that property with the RV on it, probably for about 80,000, 80 to 100, and then keep the Jeep Renegade. No need to change that. And then in 5 years, I would do a reevaluation or when the Jeep Renegade would go. So right now, just if I did do it, that's what I would do. And then maybe in 5 years or something, maybe just junk that trailer and then just see. But that's something I thought about. Good question. Square Team 88 Starbucks promo. I tell them to send you a check. Laugh out loud. Well, hey, look, Starbucks has been a great company in my experience. Very accommodating. Free waters. I mean, I buy a coffee every time I go in there. Free Wi-Fi, and you don't have to. After the incident last year in Philly, you don't have to buy anything. You just go in Starbucks, and you can just use Wi-Fi, and you can just sit and relax. Clean bathrooms, very good customer service. And Starbucks is one of the first businesses to offer healthcare benefits to even part-time employees, and they started that decades ago. So Starbucks stand-up company for the most part, and I talked to a couple employees that I told you, like 2 nights ago, I was talking to one of the employees that does a part-time. His main hustle is real estate. He's a real estate agent, but he works at Starbucks part-time to get health benefits and to keep some type of steady income because, being a real estate agent's up and down. So, yeah, look, if you're a nomad, Starbucks is a staple. There's no better internet. There's no better spot. There's abundant locations. Same thing as Planet Fitness. The biggest companies that you need to be aware of, you need to Google in your area if you're going to be a nomad, is Planet Fitness for your hygiene, gym, bathrooms. They're 24/7, and Starbucks. That's your office, and your living room. Good job, Square 88, Square Team, Buck. So true. I agree with your perspective. Thank you, brother. Flexibility and peace of mind is number one. Amen. On the list, investments are tricky. They are. And I've heard GE and AT&T are pretty stable and pay out decent income. Oh, hell no. GE went from like $30 a share a year and a half ago. They're down like fucking $12, $13 because they had a huge accounting scam. Whew, you don't want to. Now at rock bottom, you may want to buy low and see. But see, that's the thing. Like with stock, that's the thing with stocks. You never know. GE was a huge company. They all the way up to $30 a share. Now they're back down 12. So if you'd have bought them a year and a half ago because everyone said buy GE, you'd have lost half your investment. So you got to be very conscious of that. And I've done stocks, and what I can tell you is overall still lost more money than it made. It's hard to sustain it because if you win on a few, then you get greedy. Not even greedy, but then you just think you got to figure it out. And what you learn in the market is there's a lot of variables. Now, you can get to a certain point, but it's a huge mental, it's not easy. Look, it is tricky line to balance. You balance hard thing. Got to maintain self-care. Self-care got to be number one. Totally agree with that. A-Rash. Sam Malone from Cheers. Oh, okay, now I know you're talking about. There actually is a baseball player. Yeah, that was Ted Danson. You're right. Player living in a van. Is there? Oh, yeah, that's right. I did see that when I first researched. In Tampa, he was. I remember that. I don't know if he still is. I remember that. He was like a surfer guy that was a pitcher. I remember that. Don't know if he kept it up. Yeah, I don't know if he kept it up either. I know who you're talking about if you YouTube it. Yep. TV shows and celebrities could really change people's perspective on the van life minimalism. Well, I think minimalism. I think van life. I think most people get burnt out. I really do. And now living it, because eventually you're paying money, unless you just travel nonstop. But if you travel nonstop, even if you don't pay for camp fees, you pay money with gas and with wear and tear in your car. Everything is going to cost you somewhat. So live below your means is the answer. Van life, what it does though, is provide flexibility and great adventure. But after a certain period of time, like my man Jacob, who messaged me last night, 4 months and he's burnt out. He said he visited everywhere he wants to go. Now I think you'll probably get to 8 to 12 months before you get burnt out. But I don't think it's a sustainable lifestyle. And for most people, you got to remember they want families. They don't want to live like totally single. Like that was the second part of the comment. He's bored. He wants to be with somebody. I don't want to be with anyone. Believe me. And this YouTube helps out because it gives me a level of connection. But then after the live feed's over, I go watch porn and I'm by myself. So that's what I like. And but I'm a little bit odd in that way. I know that. I know I'm not like the average person as far as like how the average person likes to live. But minimalism to the point of live below your means, I think, can be applied to everyone. Now, on what scale? We talk about the scale of balance. Now, that's individual, and that's so that I can't make a general statement, but I can make the general statement of just live below your means. Alice, hey Alice, hello to you. Square Team 88, good info. Square Team, good to have you here, brother. Buck Porter, thanks for mentioning the healthcare at Starbucks. Good idea if ever needed. Yep, no doubt, definitely. I think about that myself because you always think about like worst case scenario. You got to have the backups. Good job, Luke. Are the facilities at the campground good, like the bathrooms and showers in Florida? In the ones I've been to, and do they have pools and things like that? They're all different. That's number one. State parks have been pretty good. There's obviously there's state parks and there's other parks. So they're all different, but overall the bathrooms have been clean. Overall, as far as a pool, I haven't seen any pool. There's rivers. At least the ones I stayed. There's been rivers and lakes, and kayaking and things like that, or horseback riding. But overall, the facility's clean, secure, safe, no issue, quiet at night, and that's my main thing. I don't even spend most of the day there. Like I was checking in the other day at the one I'm at now, and the guy was like, what are you staying in? I was like, my Jeep Renegade, and he was like, yeah, but what are you sleeping in? I said, my Jeep Renegade. He's like laughing. He's like, well, you got to use a tent, right? He's like, here you got to at least use a tent. I said, I'll use a tent. And he goes, I go, look, I'm not even here during the day. I only come here like for a parking spot. And he goes, that's fine. He goes, look, we don't even care if somebody comes in a van or whatever, but usually they only stay for 2 days. He goes, you're reserving it for several days. So we just want to ensure that, you're not just going to be, parked on that campsite and just be like, if you are for a long period of time during the day, we just ask that you put up a tent, and then do whatever you want as far as how you want to sleep. So sorry, I said I ain't going to be here during the day. And I'm not. Look at me right now. Like I only go to my campground for a safe, legal spot to park, and then I'm out. People stay there all day. They do campfires, they cook out, they enjoy all the park. I don't do any of that. I'm just using it strictly for the parking. So I'm odd like that. I'm different like that. So just make a mental note. Where were we at? Good questions. Apathy sucks. What's up, man? Hey, Sammy. Really like your live feeds. Well, I really appreciate you guys coming in and leaving comments. That's what makes it magical. You inspire a lot of people. Well, I appreciate that. That does mean something to me. Believe me, it does. I joke around, but I'm very thankful for that. Myself included. Well, thank you. Who inspires you? Thank you. Well, my mom, number one. Two is anyone else. I get inspired. What I watch a lot on YouTube are interviews of people, whether it's interviews of somebody from a financial aspect of somebody living like that, or somebody, a great inventor, or a historical person, or even a spiritual person, or a nomad person. I look at interviews, or just a hot girl like Nikki Bella. I watch their interviews. I take a little bit from everyone, even people like I totally disagree with. I take a little bit from everyone and I put my own twist on it. And then I realize even people that have done great things, made a lot of money or made no money, or very hot or very ugly, everyone struggles with the same core human struggles, which is never being satisfied, bad thoughts, physical limitations are your number one fear, and controlling your mind, keeping healthy relationships, and realizing that your time in the sun comes and goes. Everything is fading. And one day you'll be at the top, next day you'll be at the bottom, and treating people right. And so, that whole like just understanding of life and seeing different people with different perspectives, and like I said, Ultimate Warrior, he was a huge inspiration for me to get my health together. He did some videos on YouTube before he died. So that's kind of like just in general. out of Illinois. I couldn't work at Starbucks because there's no way I could remember people's complicated drink orders. Well, I agree with that. I would think I think I'm in the same boat as you. I don't have that skill set. There's a skill set to work at Starbucks. If you ever go in the morning, like especially around rush hour in the morning on a Monday, the there's a skill set to work, and you got to be willing to deal with people, and you got to have a mental capacity. So for me, I don't think it would fit my skill set. For some people, it fits their skill set, not for me. I mean, I would do anything if I had to. I've proven in life that's what I've done. I mean, I deliver pizzas or I paint a house. I don't want to, but you got to do what you got to do. But I feel the same way. It wouldn't fit my skill set. I like to be kind of by myself. That's why I work good remotely or at night. I would probably, if I really like the shit hit the fan, I'd probably do something like on a night shift tip. Because that keeps me free during the day, but it messes up your sleep cycle a little bit. But I agree with you on that. L12FO, that's my favorite Space Coast. Well, second, I love Karen, but I love L12FO. Hey there, Sam, and all. Good to see you. Just got home and saw a notification. Well, thank you for coming in. Thank you for your comments. Better late than never. That's right. We appreciate you. We had a fun, relaxing beach day. Good. How's your weekend going? Palm tree, beach emoji, wave, and peace. Thank you, L12FO, for your love and consistency. Yeah, overall doing well, and we're happy to have you. Marin, that's my other friend. Marin says hello, and then she gave a heart, love, and respect. Marin, thank you for who you are. Thank you for all your wisdom, and thank you for just being a positive person. I appreciate you. Square Team 88. Are Walmart lots safe to sleep in? Well, in Florida, most of them you can't. You're going to see many signs in the Florida ones, no overnight parking. But there's are some that are allowed, and definitely on the East Coast, I've slept at a few. Yeah, overall they're safe. Overall they're safe. Overall anywhere is safe. There's going to be once in a while, like you know, it may be unsafe as far as anywhere. That's just the odds of life. But overall, I would say safe. But you just got to remember, they're one night and you're out. That's the whole purpose. A lot of people get comfortable and then they go back to the same one for several nights, and that's how you get yourself in trouble. So you got to be mindful of that. Buck. Yep, definitely the way to do it. It hit the campground at night. Yep. Buck. Live life in the day. Yeah. You know, the trick to not get burnt out, too, is to remember you got to live life one day at a time. You know, how you start to tax your mind is you start to look too far ahead or you start to look behind and you get overwhelmed and you just burn yourself out. You got to remember, and it's a daily discipline. You got to say, let me get through today. Let me be thankful for today. Let me live today. Let me make the most of today. And then tomorrow you got to say the same thing. But every day you're thinking about, all right, what about 5 years? What about 2 years? What about next week? What about this? What about that? And that's how you go in a circle, and then your head explodes. Got to be careful. One day at a time. Marin, there's pools, laundry facilities, activities. I have seen laundry. Anything wanted. Social activities, libraries, and one on Sambell has a zoo. Laugh out loud. Really? That's interesting. Good job, Marin. Yolanda. How's Sailing John? I don't know. October 2018. Hopefully he's still coming down, but maybe not. I mean, you know, it gets scary when you're getting close to a life change. It's so I hope he is, but I hope he's doing whatever's best for him. I haven't talked to him recently. Hoping he isn't caught up in the elements. Yeah, I hope so too. Marin, hug back to you. Hydration break for everyone. Well, I feel good and I feel thankful. And let's just take it one day at a time. With that being said, I think we had a positive night. Learn how to exit gracefully. Try not to extend the conversation too long because that's how conversation goes downhill. L1 to a foe. I know how you love your Starbucks. That's right, pipeline, yes. But you have to try Wawa coffee. Oh, I tried Wawa coffee. Wawa's from New Jersey. They came down here. Disaster. I hate Wawa coffee. Down here or in New Jersey, I've tried it. Disaster. I'm loyal to Starbucks, but Samara, I hate it. But discovered Wawa Cuban blend is pretty good. Now, I hate Wawa coffee. It makes me want to throw up every time. And I've tried it many times because they're open 24/7. And sometimes Starbucks doesn't open until 5 or 6. I go to Wawa. Every time I go to Wawa, I want to regurgitate. Just not for me, but love and respect to you and Wawa. I like Wawa subs. You can get a veggie sub. I like Wawa's Diet Cokes. Got magical mixed with the new Coke machine. But I do not like Wawa coffee. Nope. Yolanda, good night to you. HVAC Genius, what's up to Polk County? Have you tried Cuban coffee yet? In Miami, no. That's one thing on my list. Good job. Thank you for reminding me. Maybe tomorrow. All right, guys, girls. I appreciate everyone. Keep pushing forward. Self-care has got to be priority, or else you're going to get burnt out. And you got to just control your mind. You got to get the proper rest. Zakia, love and respect Alaska, but I got to stay in Florida. Got to get the proper rest. Not too little, not too much. Got to find that balance. And then he goes, Tor, the first Jersey guy I know that doesn't like Wawa coffee. I know. Love your honesty. Thank you. Yeah, I know. And back in New Jersey, a lot of my friends used to give me shit like, I can't believe you don't like Wawa coffee. It's fucking disaster. But thank you. Yeah, a lot of people said that to me. Daddy Geek. Night, Sammy. Good night to you. Apathy sucks. Thanks for answering. Have a peaceful night. You too. All right. Love, respect, peace. Gotta go forward.